Hi guys, welcome to my channel, Allie's Book Nook. Today I'm going to share with you what I've been reading for the past month or so, descriptions of the book, as well as my thoughts on the books. I do have previous videos posted for the last few months on my sister channel, Allie's Amazing Sense, so I will link that channel down below if you want to go check those out. But I have decided to have a dedicated channel to my reading experience. So, like I said, this is books I've read over the past month, maybe a little longer. I'm going to try to do these videos more frequently while the books are still fresh in my mind. But today I have 7 books to talk about, so let's just dive in. I think these are going to be mostly thrillers. Geez, these might all be thrillers. Usually I have at least one that's not from my book club, but we are breaking for the summer. So, the first one I have here is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. And this was a thriller. This, I gave 4 stars on Goodreads, and I did enjoy this book. So, I will read you the synopsis and then tell you a little bit on my thoughts about it. It says, "Think you know the person you married? Think again. Things have been wrong with Mr. and Mrs. Wright for a long time. Wright with a W. Every anniversary, the couple exchange traditional gifts, paper, cotton, pottery, tin, and each year Adam's wife writes him a letter that she never lets him read, until now. Self-confessed workaholic and screenwriter Adam Wright has lived with his face blindness his whole life. He can't recognize friends or family or even his own wife. And Amelia is sick of feeling unseen. When Adam and Amelia went a weekend away to Scotland, it might be just what their marriage needs. They both know this weekend will make or break their relationship, but they didn't randomly win this trip. One of them is lying, and someone doesn't want them to live happily ever after. 10 years of marriage, 10 years of secrets, and an anniversary they will never forget." So, I really enjoyed this book. I picked this up secondhand from my local secondhand bookstore. And I think that they put these laminated jackets on all of their hardcovers, so I like that. But anyway, this couple, well, first of all, Alice Feeney. This is the second book that I have read of hers. The first one I read was Sometimes I Lie, and that was several years ago. And it was good, but it wasn't very memorable, to the point where I actually read it twice because I had forgotten that I read it. But I did enjoy this. This couple, they are British, and I don't remember if Alice Feeney is a British author or not. It doesn't say in her bio. If you guys know, comment down below. But so they live in Britain. They win this trip to Scotland for their anniversary, and yeah, things don't go as expected. I like how this book is told in alternating perspectives. We have a chapter with Adam, the husband, and then we'll have a chapter with Amelia, and usually his chapters have a typewriter because he's an author, and then hers have a dog on it because they do have a family dog. Oh, and then there's a third character named Robin, and so we have a little Robin there. That's Amelia's. So it's alternating perspectives between these 3 characters. I really liked it. It had a plot twist I did not see coming, probably about 70% into the book. Now, I did also listen to this on audiobook through Libby, which is a free app through my library. Highly recommend it. And it had different narrators. So Adam was a male narrator, Amelia and Robin were female narrators. And so I really liked that part of it. And yeah, I would recommend this. If you like alternating perspectives and short chapters and kind of that, remote cabin winter time setting, this is a good book. So I would recommend this. The next book I have here is a Shari Lapena book, and it is An Unwanted Guest. I think I picked this up at the local used bookstore as well. And I gave this 3 stars. I also listened to this on Libby. I'm trying to get through some of the books that I have that I haven't read. And so I've been going into Libby and seeing if they have some of those available and doing it that way. And that has helped to get through these. But yeah, this was a thriller and I gave this 3 stars. This was the second book that I've read from Shari Lapena. And the first one I read was A Couple Next Door. And that one was really good. I liked that a lot better than this one. This one was just okay. So it says a gripping mystery perfect for fans of Agatha Christie, which I would agree with that. It's winter in the Catskills, and Mitchell's Inn is a perfect setting for a relaxing, maybe even romantic weekend away. It boasts spacious old rooms with huge wood-burning fireplaces and well-stocked wine cellar, and is ideal just for curling up with a good murder mystery. So when a blizzard cuts off the electricity and all contact with the outside world, the guests settle in and try to make the best of it. Soon, though, one of the guests turns up dead. It looks like an accident, but when a second guest dies, the others start to panic. Within the Snowden paradise, something or someone is picking off the guests one by one, and there's nothing they can do but hunker down and hope they can survive the storm and one another. So another kind of closed in remote winter setting, where that really adds to the creepiness of it. They're stranded in this hotel because of a storm, and let's see here. So this is told from a third person perspective. The chapters are fairly short. Like I said, I wish that this was fresher in my memory, but it also wasn't that memorable of a book. It was basically like, you have a set of characters and you're trying to figure out, it's probably one of them that's a murderer, and so you're trying to figure out who it was. And I just didn't think it was very remarkable. I didn't guess the murderer. I kind of had a thought for a second, but it didn't really stick with me. And so I will say that I didn't guess who the murderer was, but I just felt like I don't know, it didn't wow me. It wasn't super suspenseful. It was okay. I think I might de-stash this book. So at my local used bookstore, you can do trade-ins or buy the trade-ins where they'll give you I think a quarter of what the book is worth, or they'll purchase hardback books, and then you can get more books from them. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this one. I didn't dislike it, but it just wasn't my favorite. But if you're looking for that remote snowed in cabin kind of feel, you might like this one. Okay, the next book I read, this was a big one. This was probably the thickest book I've read. Granted, it's hardback, but 435 pages. And this was Karen Slaughter, False Witness. And I did also listen to this one on audio as well through Libby. So this says, he saw what you did, he knows who you are. I gave this, I think, 3.5 stars. I did like it a little bit better than the last one I talked about, but it was just a little bit drawn out. This was my first Karen Slaughter book, and I do plan on reading more. I think I have a couple of hers that I've picked up. I do want to read Pretty Girls sometime, but I haven't read that one. I think that's the one I hear people talk about the most. But it was just a little bit drawn out. And this is the first book I've read that takes place during COVID, the COVID pandemic. And I don't know. It was interesting because it did remind you how COVID was at the constant forefront for everyone and everything, but it got a little bit redundant in the book, just those constant reminders. So I got this at Goodwill. It says, An Ordinary Life. Lee Collier has worked hard to build what looks like a normal life. She's an up-and-coming defense attorney at a prestigious law firm in Atlanta who would do anything for her 16-year-old daughter, Maddie, and is managing to successfully co-parent through a pandemic after an amicable separation from her husband, Walter. But Lee's ordinary life masks a childhood no one should have to endure, a child tarnished by secrets, broken by betrayal, and ultimately destroyed by a brutal act of violence. On a Sunday night at her daughter's school play, she gets a call from one of the firm's partners who wants Lee to come on board to defend a wealthy man accused of multiple counts of rape. Though wary of the case, it becomes apparent she doesn't have much of a choice if she wants to keep her job. They're scheduled to go to trial in 1 week. When she meets the accused face to face, she realizes it's no coincidence that he specifically asked for her to represent him. She knows him, and he knows her. More to the point, he may know what happened over 20 years ago and why Lee has spent 2 decades avoiding her past. Suddenly, she has a lot more to lose than this case. The only person who can help her is her younger, estranged sister, Callie. Last person Lee would ever want to drag into this after all they've been through. With life-shattering truth and danger being revealed, she has no choice. So this book does have some trigger warnings. Like I said, that guy was accused of rape, and some stuff that happened to her and her sister in the past, other essay trigger warnings, and also addiction. Her sister is an addict, and they are pretty candid in talking about her drug use. So if that may be a trigger warning for some people as well. This book was very character-driven, character-based, so I did appreciate that. You really got into the characters' heads, and the chapters were kind of long. The first part of the book really was the best part because you don't know who they're talking about, and then you find out who it is they're talking about, and that was really interesting. But yeah, after that, it was just a little drawn out. Also, this thing that they're hiding in their past, I felt like it didn't justify what was going on. Like, they're so afraid of the past coming up when really the past was not really something that they could control or that they would like be held. I don't know. I don't want to give it away. But I felt like they put too much emphasis on that. And I was just like, come on, just like get it out there and let justice serve its course with this guy. I also thought it was kind of, I don't know, it was a little bit far-fetched the way he was like blackmailing them and stuff. But it was not a bad book. I am going to destash this one and go ahead and make room in my collection for books that I truly love. But I was glad to get through it. I got a good deal on it at Goodwill, and I do plan on reading more Karin Slaughter books. If you guys have any good recommendations for any books, comment down below. But particular, if you have any good recommendations for Karin Slaughter, I would like to read more of her books in the future. Okay. The next book I read was the worst book I read in this last month. And this is a 2-star book for me. This is called The Neighbor by Joseph Souza. I got this from my local library. And on the cover, it says, "The couple next door meets Gone Girl in this addictive thriller. Once I started reading, I couldn't stop." So that is kind of why I picked this up. Both of those books, I mean, Gone Girl, you know, everyone compares every thriller these days to Gone Girl, but The Couple Next Door Meets Gone Girl, yeah, let's do it. It started out strong. Like, I thought it was going to be a 4-star, and then it just dived. And it was just like, really? It just got so ridiculous. So, it says, an taunt psychological thriller filled with breathtaking twists. Oh, and by the way, I just read this book. I didn't have any Audible or anything to go along with it. Joseph Souza explores a tangle of betrayal and deception between 2 neighboring couples and asks how well we can really know each other or ourselves. When Leah and her husband Clay move from Seattle to Maine, she envisions a vibrant new neighborhood packed with families, playmates for her twins, new friends she can confide and bond with. But when Clay works long hours to establish his brewery, Leah is left alone each day in a nearly deserted housing development where the only other occupants are aloof and standoffish. Bored and adrift, she finds herself watching Clarissa and Russell Gaines next door, envying their stylishly decorated home and their university careers. But Leah's obsession with the intriguing, elegant Clarissa grows until she's not spying from afar, but sneaking into their house, taking small objects, reading Clarissa's diary. It contains clues to a hidden turmoil Leah never guessed at and a connection to a local college girl who's disappeared. The more Leah learns about Clarissa, the more questions emerge, because behind every neighbor's door there are secrets that could shatter lives forever. So, like I said, it started out good, but I didn't like it. So, it is told in alternating perspectives from the husband and wife, Clay the husband and Leah the wife, and they are both really unlikable characters. They're both, I like a book with a flawed character or even an unreliable narrator, but these were just not good people. They didn't really have any redeeming qualities to me. The husband was an alcoholic, and he didn't really have any good merits. And I don't want to give it away, but there is trouble in paradise, and he brought a lot of that on himself, but his wife also is like, she's weird and she's very gullible. Her neighbor friend, the neighbor that she was spying on, basically catches her in the act and then was like, oh, it's fine, let's be friends. And, she was just like, oh yeah, okay, let's do it. Like, she's so gullible. Like, I don't know. The whole book was like, at that point, it got really unrealistic for me, and all the stuff that started happening, it was unrealistic. It was almost kind of like when you're in a dream and things like make sense without any like consequences or foresight or anything in your dream. They're just, oh yeah, that makes sense, and then you wake up and you're like, that makes no sense. That would never happen in real life. That's how I felt about this book. Like, no, that just wouldn't happen. And the other thing that was weird about here was the way the author addressed race. The Leah and Clay are white. Their neighbors are African American. But there's a lot of racial points brought up in this book. And the missing girl, brings in race and stuff. And I mean, I think I don't know. I don't know if the author, I think he was trying to like make social statements, but it almost came off a little bit offensive. I have African American people in my family, and I was like, I don't know. It was just, he was trying too hard, and it was kind of cringy is what it was. So this is the guy. And it says, before launching his writing career, he worked as an intelligence agent or analyst for the DEA Organized Crime Unit in Washington, D.C. And he totally looks like a cop. His award-winning short fiction essays have been published in literary journals throughout the country. He lives in Portland, Maine with his wife and 2 children. And this book does take place in Maine. So yeah, it's, like I said, it started out good. I thought it would be good, but then it just got like really, really bad. I did finish it, so that's the only reason I gave it 2 stars. I'm kind of reserving 1-star ratings for if I ever DNF a book, but yeah, I don't recommend this, and I'm glad that I didn't purchase it or anything. I'll be returning it to my library, and I really don't know if I'd read any more of his books, actually. Like I said, some of the stuff was just kind of cringy. Okay, the next book I have is The Good Girl by Mary Kubica, as I believe how you say her name. And I gave this 3.5 stars. 3 stars on Goodreads. I'll round up to 3.5. I wanted to love it, but I just liked it. I did enjoy the audio version of this because it is, I think there's like 3 different narrators. There's the main girl, her mom, and the cop, and different voices for them. So that was cool. But let me read you the synopsis here. And I think this is her debut novel, and I do plan on reading more of her books. I thought she was a good author. I don't know. The storyline was just okay for me. It was a little bit slow. It wasn't really any plot twists. It was kind of predictable. But anyway, it says, one night Mia Dennett enters a bar to meet her on-again, off-again boyfriend. But when he doesn't show, she unwisely leaves with an I don't know, something stranger. An enigmatic stranger. I know the word, but I know I'm not saying it right. At first, Colin Thatcher seems like a safe one night stand, but following Colin home will turn out to be the worst mistake of Mia's life. When Colin decides to hide Mia in a secluded cabin in rural Minnesota instead of delivering her to his employers, Mia's mother Eve and Detective Gabe Hoffman will stop at nothing to find them. But no one could have predicted the emotional entanglements that eventually cause the family's world to shatter. An addictively suspenseful taunt thriller, The Good Girl is a propulsive debut novel that reveals how even in the perfect family, nothing is as it seems. So I picked this up from my local, the Book Exchange is what it's called. um, and yeah, I don't know. I might keep this because for my collection, at least for a while, because it is her debut novel, and see if I like more of her books. I do plan on reading, more stuff in her catalog. I think Local Woman Missing is her big one right now that I see in stores, but I think I have another one of hers that I need to read. Anyway, it was just not super thrilling. I did like the detective, Gabe Hoffman. When it was told in his perspective, I thought he was funny. And there is, some side stories with him and the mom. The mother is British, but this takes place in America, obviously. And so she ends up having Stockholm Syndrome, I believe is what it's called, where you sympathize with your kidnapper. And I don't know. It was just kind of drawn out, and that whole situation with her, how she reacted and stuff, it was just okay. So, that is The Good Girl. Would I recommend this? Not necessarily, unless I don't know. Lately, I feel like I just really need something really fast-paced thriller with lots of plot twists, and this didn't do it, but the writing was good in it. If you like kidnapping stories and maybe stories that have something to do with, I think I'm saying that right, Stockholm Syndrome, that type of thing, alternating narrators, shorter paragraphs, you may like this one. This is 380 pages. So, but from the beginning what happened, like, that I'm just going to say this, it's not a spoiler. That she survives the kidnapping because it's told basically in the beginning of the book, from when she gets home and gets reunited, and then kind of backtracking what actually happened. So, and I'm not exactly sure on the title. I mean, yeah, she was a nice girl, but I didn't feel like that was really calling anything specific other than maybe one line made by a secondary character in passing. I don't know how great that title fit, but anyway, that was The Good Girl. Okay, 2 more here. The next one was my favorite book that I've read. Oh no, I don't know. Maybe my second favorite. Yeah, I think I'll say my second favorite, but I really enjoyed this book. And this is The Death of Mrs. Westaway by Ruth Ware. Really, really good book. I picked this up, I think, at Goodwill, like a long time ago, several years ago. And I finally read it. And I also listened to the audio, and it was great. So Ruth Ware is a British author, and she writes suspense thrillers. This is the second book of hers I've read, and I really enjoyed it. Her first book that I read was her debut novel called In a Dark, Dark Wood, and I didn't really like that one, and I think I am going to destash that one, but I really like this one, and I will be keeping this for my collection, and I want to read more of her books. I do have The Woman in Cabin 10 on my shelf here, and so I do plan on reading that. And I don't know. I like British. I like a good British novel. I like, it's kind of fun the way that they talk and some of the things they say, like calling maths, stuff like that. Let me just read you the back here. So it says, starred reviews. Okay, no. Maybe this is just all the reviews. Okay. Well, basically what happens is there is the main character, and her name is Hal, Harriet, but she goes by Hal. And she is a tarot card reader. And she's about, I don't know, 20, like early 20s. Her mother has recently died. She's doing really bad financially. And she gets this letter in the mail saying, you are an inheritant of this lady that just passed away. You're named as one of her heirs. You need to come and settle this. And she's like, this has to be a mistake, because what she knows of her family, she didn't have a grandmother that matched this information, but she is kind of at her wit's end financially. And because she's a tarot card reader, even though she doesn't really believe in like the mysticism of tarot cards, she basically reads people for a living, and tells their fortune through their tarot, a lot of times by how they how she can read them and how they react. So she's really good at that. And so she thinks that she can pull this off by going there and pretending, yeah, I'm the person that is entitled to this money, even though she feels like it was a clerical mistake. So she goes to this giant mansion where this old lady has passed away, but her children are there, and she has to pretend like she's one of them. And then it turns out she thinks that she may be related, but not how they think she is. And it's like, can she pull it off? And then there's some weird stuff happening. And I felt like there was a lot of tension in this book, which I really liked. And yeah, it was good. And there is some like more traditional thriller stuff going on. I did not guess the plot twists. Really, really good. So yeah, I would recommend this one. And look at the cover, that gives you the whole mood, the setting. So just this like dark, foggy, old estate in the English countryside. I mean, yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed that one. I think Maggie here on YouTube recommended this one to me, so thank you so much. I really enjoyed that one, and I would recommend it. So the last book I read, I got a Kindle. If you watch any of my other videos, I settled on a tablet for my e-reader, but then I got this Kindle for $5 at a garage sale, so I had to get it. Put some stickers on there. My last book was a 5-star book, and that is The Stillwater Girls. This was really, really good. And this is by Minka Kent. It says it's a thriller, best-selling author of Thinnest Air. I've never heard of her, but I had seen people talking about this online, and it's available in Kindle Unlimited, which I have a free trial to right now. And some of the books on Kindle Unlimited have audio included in them, like separate from Audible, but I think they call it like talk to text. So you're able to listen to it and read it. And so that's what I did, and I really enjoyed it. So it's about these two sisters that live in this remote cabin, and they have lived there with their mom and their younger sister their whole lives, very isolated, where they don't know anything about modern technology. I mean, they've never seen a cell phone. They don't know anything. And their youngest sister, she gets really, really sick. So these girls are like 19 and 20 or something, 17, 18, somewhere like that. Their younger sister, who's like 9, gets really, really sick to the point where their mom has to take her into town. And her mom has raised them that like civilization basically is no more. It's all evil out there. Civilization collapsed. That's why we live out here. And they don't come back for months. And finally it comes to the point where something happens, something scary and intense happens at their cabin where they have to leave, and they end up in civilization. And then the story unfolds of what's really going on here. Why were they there? So you're dealing with why were they there, trying to figure out who they really are, while you're also watching them experience life in the 21st century for the first time. And I really connected with the characters. You know, that other book I was talking about, I was like, oh, the characters are terrible. They had no moral compass. These girls, like, I really felt for them, especially the main character. One of the main characters. It was really good. So it was told actually through alternating perspectives of two people that you're like, how are their lives even connected? Wren, W-R-E-N, that's the oldest daughter who is in this secluded cabin, and then Nicolette, she is a modern 21st century girl, lady, living her life with all the modern conveniences, and then you, at some point, their timelines, their stories intertwine, and you get to see that. But this was a really good book. I really liked it. I would highly recommend it. It was, what did I just see? 200? I don't know how many pages. But yeah, that was a good book. To the point where if I saw this in a paper copy or hardback copy, whatever, physical copy, secondhand, I would pick it up if I got a good deal on it. So yeah, those are the 7 books that I read in the last month or so. I am currently reading the most recent Housemaid book from Frida McFadden. Just came out a few days ago, and it's The Housemaid. Did I say Handmaid? I meant Housemaid. The Housemaid is Watching. I've read the first 2, so stay tuned for my review on the 3rd one. I'm just reading it on Kindle. I'm not listening to it or anything. All Frida's books are on Kindle. And yeah, I hope to come back sooner than later with some more book reviews for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this. I would love to interact with you in the comments, and I'd love to know what are you reading. I don't just read thrillers. Like I said, I've been on a thriller kick lately, but that's not all I read. So if you guys have any good recommendations, let me know. And if you've read any of these books, what are your thoughts on them, the books or the authors? I would love to hear your thoughts on any of that. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Like I said, if you do want to check out older videos, head over to Allie's Amazing Sense, and I do have a few book review videos on there. Otherwise, please consider subscribing to this channel. I'm just getting it started, and so I actually don't have any subscribers yet. I would love for you to join me on this journey, or at least give it a thumbs up. So thank you guys so much, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.